In fact, some of the very famous Khaps, they have given the chief ministers or say prominent leaders of Haryana. Okay, so there is a Khap of Rohtak, that is Mehem Chaubisi. Okay, so बहुत सारे chief ministers of Haryana, even Chautala and all, so they have come from this Khap only, Mehem Chaubisi. So Mehem is the town and Chaubisi refers to the 24 village that comes under this Khap, and they basically Rohtak area mein they are functioning, and they are considered to be one of the most dominant Khaps also, one of the very strong Khaps of Haryana. Khap Panchayats. So this was also asked as a 10-mark question once. Khap Panchayats. So what are Khap Panchayats and how do we see them? So actually most of the times the news has been about the Khap Panchayat has been in a negative sense only. But we'll see what actually a Khap Panchayat is, how does it functions, and what are its role in the present modern democracy. So the word Khap actually comes from the word Khatrap. And this Khatrap actually means a Gotra or a clan. That is group of people assuming their descent from an assumed ancestor. Okay, that is, so a Khap basically represents mainly a Gotra of a Jat community. Okay. Now, there are different types of Khap that you can find in Haryana. That is a particular area jahan pe village is owned by or which village is dominated by a particular Gotra itself. Ek hi Gotra hai and that is basically dominating that particular village. Okay, and that will have the Khap of that particular Gotra. Or there can be a village, say multiple village, which is dominated by a caste, but there are multi-gotra in that particular caste. Say Jat ke to hain, but Jat ke bahut sare gotra they are there in that particular village. Okay, so that can also be the case. And then there can be a territory where there are multi-caste. Jat के साथ साथ और भी बहुत सारे caste groups हैं. And at the same time there are multiple gotras as well. So that means a territory dominated by a single gotra of Jat, a territory dominated by the Jats but multiple gotras, and then there is a territory that is dominated by multiple caste and multiple gotras. Okay, and based on that, different kinds of Khaps will be created in that particular area. Okay. Now, what was or how do they function? What are the rules that they follow in basically their functioning? So you'll find that if we see the history of Khaps, so there is no clear-cut historical documentation of the origin of the Khaps, and different village councils originated in different socio-economic structures. And due to which, अलग-अलग जगह पे अलग-अलग conditions की वजह से, you'll find that there is no single rule or law that governs the functioning of Khap. हर एरिया के खाप की अपनी अपनी पहचान है, अपने अपने रूल्स हैं, and that depends upon the socio-economic structure or the political economy of the area जहां पे that particular khap has actually evolved. Okay, and that's its unique history gives a unique way of governance. But one thing that you will be finding in the khap is that they ensure participation. That means the entire caste group living in that area will be participating in its affairs. Okay, so a collective meeting aayegi and then they will be discussing upon some issues and then eventually they will be giving a particular judgment. Now, whenever a particular judgment is given by the khap with respect to a issue that has been brought to its discussion, उस केस में डिसीजन बिकम्स बाइंडिंग है. अब आप इसको चैलेंज नहीं कर सकते. यू हैव टू फॉलो इट or it might lead to social boycott of that particular individual or the family if they try to violate the decision of the Khap. ओके उस केस में आप बिल्कुल चैलेंज नहीं कर सकते, कोई लीगल नॉर्म्स भी आप फॉलो करोगे, से आप पुलिस स्टेशन में जाके चैलेंज कर दो या कोर्ट में, इवेंचुअली दैट माइट लीड टू सोशल एक्सक्लूजन. ठीक है, पुलिस आपके या कोर्ट आपके फेवर में जजमेंट तो दे देगी, बट इट माइट हैपन दैट कि कम्युनिटी में आप एनफोर्स कैसे कराओगे, एंड इट लीड टू सोशल एक्सक्लूजन. ओनली वन वे ऑफ अपीलिंग इज कि दैट आप एक हायर अथॉरिटी पे अपील करो, दैट इज व्हाट इज कॉल्ड एज सर्व खाप. दैट मींस it's a collection, it's a higher authority in which multiple khaps of the nearby village might come together and take up the discussion, and they only have the power to reverse the order of the khap, that is sarva khap. Okay, or what is called as maha khap panchayat also. So multiple khaps basically coming together. Now in all these participation, what you will be finding is that women ka participation, and similarly the participation of the lower caste or the minority caste in the village in the Khap is insignificant. Women do not hold important positions, and moreover the lower caste or the minority caste in that particular village also do not have any significant position in the Khaps. So they will be taking up the decision and they will be implementing those decisions, and women and the lower caste will have to follow it. Okay. Now ये function क्या करते? So the first major function for which Khap was actually constituted, the historical idea hai, is that to maintain Gotra exogamy. So it's a caste panchayat and जिसका काम Gotra exogamy को maintain करना था. That means anybody belonging to the same Gotra should not be allowed to marry each other. In fact, they are considered to be the blood relatives, brothers and sisters, and they are not allowed to marry. Not just this, there are also some Khaps which actually ensure that village exogamy is practiced. That people living in the same village, although of the different Gotras, they are not allowed to marry each other. Because they are living closer to each other, they are also considered to be a part of Bhaichara network or Biradari network. And that's why, since they are a part of Bhaichara network or Biradari network, they are considered to be brother and sister, they are not supposed to be married. And then, to prevent intercaste marriage. अब इंटरकास्ट मैरिज के लिए इनके दो रीजंस है प्रिवेंट करने के लिए. एक, बेसिकली टू प्रिजर्व द ऑनर ऑफ देयर कास्ट, टू मेंटेन देयर डोमिनेंस, एंड सेकंड इज टू बेसिकली make sure that the property does not get divided. For example, if a girl from Jat landowning community actually marries a lower caste, in that case Hindu Succession Act के अंतर्गत she can actually inherit the ancestral property, and that's why they do not want the property to be divided, which will eventually lead to loss of their dominance in the area. And that's why they prevent intercaste marriage or even the marriage with a particular gotra which is considered to be minority or inferior gotra. Okay, so ye bhi wo ensure karenge. Other than this, they will actually participate in resolution of conflict in the village, maintenance of cultural norms, and also they will ensure solidarity among the caste groups. So there are several scholars like MC Pradhan, Chaudhary, who have actually did a field work on Khaps, and they found that the majority of times whenever their norms are violated or their diktats are violated, they basically resort to violence. And violence ke naam pe one of the extreme form of violence is honor killing. Okay. Now, this is the negative aspect. वो लोग कई सारे scholars बोलते हैं कि that Khaps basically are dependent or say are stable mainly because of the two major reasons. One is asymmetric distribution of land in the area. अब एक पर्टिकुलर कास्ट ग्रुप है जिसके पास बहुत ज्यादा लैंड है, एंड सेकेंड इज बेसिकली पेट्रिलिनियल inheritance system. That means land will be transferred from father to son. And इसके साथ साथ, since population of Jats in Haryana is approximately 25%, so these Khaps, they also get support from the political systems, political parties, because they are very much important for mobilization of Jats. And eventually, no political party in Haryana can actually go against them. And that's why इनकी stability काफी ज्यादा ensured हो जाती है. In fact, some of the very famous Khaps, they have given the chief ministers or say prominent leaders of Haryana. Okay, so there is a Khap of Rohtak, that is Mehem Chaubisi. Okay, so बहुत सारे chief ministers of Haryana, even Chautala and all, so they have come from this Khap only, Mehem Chaubisi. So Mehem is the town and Chaubisi refers to the 24 village that comes under this Khap, and they basically Rohtak area mein they are functioning, and they are considered to be one of the most dominant Khaps also, one of the very strong Khaps of Haryana. Okay, now these means अगर ये 25% population को Khaps के through represent करें, तो then they are becoming a very strong force, and that has to be recognized, and eventually every political party tries to appease them, and then nobody will actually try to counter them. बहुत सारे strong leaders, Chautala, Huda, Naveen Jindal, and just name them, and they belong to some very dominant Khaps also. Okay, they hold very significant position in the respective Khaps of their area. Okay, so अब तो ये हो गया कि Khaps basically कई सारे केसेस में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने, फॉर एग्जांपल शक्ति वाहनी वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया केस 2010, the Khaps, they have been declared as unconstitutional bodies, and Supreme Court has actually prohibited Khaps to give judgments not to eliminate, not to kill, not to physically hurt. मतलब उनके पास अथॉरिटी नहीं है. सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कई बार जजमेंट दिया है, बट ग्राउंड लेवल पे कोई भी law authority, they have not been able to enforce any kind of sanctions on the Khap. Okay, and the media perception of Khaps has been projected that these are patriarchal, dictatorial, and some kind of autocratic organization. However, there is a very recent field work that was done by a scholar, Prachi Huda, in this Khap called as Mehem Chaubisi. Now, what she says as the transformation of Khap. So here she's saying that there is a blend of modernity along with tradition that is being seen in the Khaps. अब Khap बहुत ज़्यादा change हो रहे हैं. There is change in the features, there is change in the activities, there is a change in the attitudes and the rules of the Khaps. For example, एक Khap है Bura Khap. Now this Khap actually gave the order that dowry should not be accepted and minimal amount of cost or should be spent on the weddings. शादी में ज़्यादा खर्चा नहीं होना चाहिए और दहेज वहेज एकदम prohibited होना चाहिए. Second, there is a very big Khap of Haryana, Satrol Khap. They have started saying that intercaste marriages can be allowed. Okay, and similarly there is a Khap called as Narwal Khap. They have started a helpline that is to prevent any kind of atrocities over women and also to prevent female feticide. आपको लग रहा होगा कि ये तो भाई साहब एकदम पलट गया, एकदम उल्टा हो गया. Actually, Prachi Huda actually says the reason for this is two major factors. पहला, that is shortage of females due to female infanticide. Okay, अब option नहीं बचे. And second, that is due to this marriage skews. That means that options available for the youth for marrying is not there, and that's why they have to project. अब intercaste restrictions आप हटा दोगे तो then the youth can marry somebody outside the caste, option बढ़ जाएगा. Second, dowries के restrictions हटा दोगे तो then in that case say even the lower जो या poor लोग हैं उनसे भी शादी हो सकती है. And that is how they are trying to project themselves as forward. But this is a condition that has been imposed by the circumstances. ये consciously नहीं आई है. सर्कमस्टांसेस ही ऐसे हैं कि ऑप्शन ही नहीं बचा है अपने पास कि कुछ और कर सके. बट she also says that there are certain features of the Khap that is a clear-cut indication of its blending with modernity. And now these features are promotion of sports in Haryana. Say you can find that the majority of the gold medal, majority of Olympic winners, sports may the one state which is doing extraordinarily well is Haryana. And here the reason or say the credit goes to the Khaps. Okay, she says that the Khaps actually have promoted sports. So they are actually funding the local akhadas. Not just this, they are also promoting the entry of female into the sports. Okay. अभी ये रिसेंट इसी साल जनवरी टू मार्च की फील्ड वर्क थी इनकी, दैट इज 2024 में. एंड शी सेज दैट कि दिस इज आल्सो displayed by Khap supporting its wrestlers against the protest. So abhi ek recent protest tha, Sakshi Malik, Vinesh Fogart and all against Brijbhushan. So that was against sexual harassment. So ye protest successful tabhi ho paya when they got the support of their respective Khaps. Okay, and they were able to actually mark their presence, or people noticed it. Actually everybody was talking about it. It's because they got the support of the Khaps. Aapne suna hoga Satyapal Malik and various other Khap leaders, they actually came and sat with the protesters and eventually they were able to create an influence. Similarly, they also supported farmers protest, and this farmers protest was able to survive only because they had the support of Khaps. They were able to create an influence, and then the government was forced to actually withdraw those farm laws. Okay, तो ये डेमोक्रेसी में काफी ज्यादा important है. That is sports में promotion करना, और say, and the second one is farmers protest में participate करना. And here he says that कि two basic imageries of women have been created. एक जगह पे, say for example in the farmers protest, female farmers were also participating, that is from the Jat community, but they were projected as the ones who are holding, or whose head was covered, veil पहना हुआ है और maybe घूंघट रखा हुआ है, चेहरे ढके हुए हैं. Another case, in case of sports, the women are projected in attires which are not considered to be traditional. ठीक है, means wearing boxers, wearing shorts and all, which is not considered to be a traditional attire of female in Haryana. But Khap usko bhi support kar raha hai. Now you will see she actually quotes that a particular Jat saying that ye ladkiyan suit pehen ke to nahi khelengi. So basically something like this, that it's not possible to wear the traditional attire and then to play the sports. And that's how this is a clear-cut indication of modernity entering into Khaps. And what actually is happening? She says that tradition with modernity has led to transformation of Khaps. तो यहाँ पे आपको कुछ elements traditional मिलेंगे. At the same time, you will also find some kind of modernity. And whatever it is doing, it's not all completely dark or evil, but something positive that has come out of the Khap in India is its performance in the sports, Olympic या international forums में. It's only because of the Khaps.